Look, you think PCP air rifles are just basement toys built for knocking soda cans off a fence post? You have never seen the kind of heavy hardware we're pushing in 2026. Here is the truth. Most traditional guys heading into the spring woods are dragging around a massive 12-gauge shotgun. They think they need a massive payload of magnum tungsten to take down a tom at 50 yards. And honestly, that stubborn mindset is holding them back. It costs them their hearing. It costs them the stealth of the woods. And it absolutely ruins perfectly good meat. Let's be real. The airgun game has completely evolved. We are talking about precision slug shooters that hit like a freight train and run mouse fart quiet. You can put a heavy chunk of lead exactly where it needs to go at 75 yards, and the rest of the flock will just stand there. Today, we are ranking the absolute best platforms built to dispatch gobblers. Listen up. Kicking off our list at number 7 is the Scout Epic. We are diving right into the deep end with this one. It is a completely different animal compared to your traditional spring and hammer setups. Throwing 30 caliber lead down range, this rig is capable of producing up to 96 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. That is more than enough to perfectly dispatch a tough old bird if you do your part. Instead of relying on a heavy metal hammer flying forward and jarring the gun, it uses an advanced electro-pneumatic spool valve system. Here is why that matters to you in the woods. By eliminating that massive mechanical strike, there is zero internal recoil before the slug even clears the muzzle. You can watch your impact right through the scope because the gun just does not jump. The air moves efficiently straight through the transfer port, giving you surgical precision at 75 yards. When you are settled in against a tree trunk, the electronic trigger is an absolute dream. It breaks crisp like stepping on thin ice, completely predictable every single time. Letting that shot fly, there is no loud metallic ping. It just sounds like a massive pneumatic nail gun popping. It is a dull thud that will not send every other bird in the county running for the next zip code. But here's the truth. The damage to your wallet is severe. The street price starts right around $2,000, and that can climb even higher if you look at the special editions. Tying up that kind of cash on a dedicated turkey rig might be hard to justify when you still need to buy high-pressure air tanks and premium optics. It is a brilliant piece of engineering, but you are absolutely paying for it. Let me know in the comments if you prefer a compact bullpup or a full-length rifle when busting through heavy brush. Stepping up the power for number 6, we have the BRK Ghost High Power. Pushes 25 cal lead straight through the dense woods without breaking a sweat. It is a tactical bullpup built to take an absolute beating in the field. At the heart of this rig is a world-class Huma air regulator. Here is why that matters when you are staring down a tom. Cheap guns suffer from regulator creep, meaning the air pressure slowly climbs while the gun sits loaded, causing your first shot to fly completely off target. With the Ghost, that pressure stays perfectly locked in, giving you exactly 70 foot-pounds of energy on that crucial first pull of the trigger. It draws from a massive 480 CCS carbon fiber bottle, letting you stay out all weekend. Settling in behind the scope, the 2-stage trigger snaps like a crisp carrot. You know exactly when it's going to break. The firing cycle is incredibly solid. It sounds like a heavy industrial staple gun punching into hardwood. Just a fast, deep thud that drops the bird and keeps the woods quiet. But let's be real, it is not flawless. The ergonomics around the cheek rest leave a lot to be desired. Because the magazine sits right below your face, getting a comfortable and consistent cheek weld takes serious practice. You will find yourself constantly adjusting your head position to find the eye box on your optic. The street price sits right around $2,450. Entering the elite tier at number 5, the Daystate Blackwolf. Spits 30 cal lead with surgical precision, delivering an impressive 135 foot-pounds of energy. This is an elite piece of European engineering, but listen, wait until you see the absolute slug-slinging monster sitting at number 1 on this list. This rig is built for the purist. Under the hood, it features a massive mechanical power wheel that directly controls your hammer spring tension. Here is why that matters. You can micro-adjust exactly how hard that hammer strikes the valve, perfectly matching the air output to the heavy weight of your slug. That means maximum energy transfer into the bird without wasting precious air from your cylinder. Getting behind this rifle feels incredible. The match-grade trigger breaks like snapping a fresh icicle. When you let that shot fly, the sound is muffled beautifully. It sounds like a heavy phone book dropping onto a thick rug. Just a dull thump and the tom goes down. But here is the ugly truth. The overall build on the front end has a major issue. The carbon fiber barrel shroud feels surprisingly flimsy. If you smack it hard against an oak tree while rushing to set up your hunting blind, you might actually shift your point of impact. For a rig that sets you back over $3,000, you expect it to be bulletproof from muzzle to stock. Now we get into the serious hunting rigs. Coming in at number 4, we are looking at the Benjamin Bulldog M257. This bullpup pushes heavy lead up to 1,160 feet per second, generating a massive 140 foot-pounds of energy. It is a dedicated slug shooter operating at 3,000 pounds per square inch. You get a solid 26 inches of barrel tucked into a 36 inches package weighing 7.7 pounds. The secret sauce here is the custom twist rate inside that long steel barrel. Here is why that matters. When you are pushing heavy, high ballistic coefficient slugs, the barrel needs to spin that chunk of lead perfectly to stabilize it through the air. A fast twist rate guarantees that bullet stays gyroscopically stable at 75 yards, cutting through the wind instead of tumbling off target. Let's talk about the firing cycle. The trigger pulls through like dragging a heavy cinder block across concrete, eventually snapping over. When it fires, even with the sound trap system, it sounds like a thick tree branch snapping in half during a windstorm. It is definitely a louder rig, but the impact is undeniable. But look, there is a major catch. This thing is an absolute air hog. You are dumping an incredible amount of volume per shot, meaning you only get about 10 good pulls of the trigger before you are completely out of gas. If you do not have a high-pressure compressor back at camp, you're going to be miserable hand-pumping this beast. Street price is roughly $950. Closer to the crown now. At number 3, we have the Western Airgun Sidewinder. Throws 30 caliber lead, downrange with absolute authority, packing up to 125 foot-pounds of energy. This rig brings something entirely different to the woods by offering semi-automatic capability, allowing for instant follow-up shots without ever taking your eye out of the optic. The secret to that rapid fire at such high power is the incredibly efficient balanced valve system. Here is why that matters for a turkey hunter. Traditional valves require a massive hammer strike to open against high cylinder pressure, which slows down the overall firing cycle. A balanced valve uses the air pressure itself to help open the valve, meaning the gun cycles incredibly fast with minimal mechanical effort, putting a second slug on target instantly if your first shot hits a thick wing bone. Getting on the trigger, it rolls back like dragging a smooth stone over wet glass before it finally drops. Because it is semi-automatic, the firing cycle sounds completely different from a standard bolt action. It barks like a heavy pneumatic jackhammer hitting asphalt, with a distinct mechanical clack as the action automatically cycles the next round into the chamber. But listen, there is a massive trade-off for all that semi-automatic firepower. The overall ergonomics are extremely bulky, and this platform is undeniably heavy, weighing in at nearly 8 pounds before you even mount a large scope or a bipod. Lugging this chunky beast through thick brush on a long spot and stalk will absolutely wear out your shoulders by noon. Sets you back roughly 2,400. Sitting just outside the top spot at number 2 is the AGT Vulcan 3 High Power. Pushes 30 caliber slugs with brutal authority, delivering a massive 145 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. This bullpup is a rugged, no-nonsense workhorse built in the Czech Republic, designed specifically to withstand the absolute worst spring weather you can drag it through. The foundation of this airgun is the gigantic 715 CCS carbon fiber bottle. Here is why that matters on a freezing morning hunt. Standard aluminum tanks can suffer from severe pressure drops when the temperature plummets, which drastically alters your shot velocity and ruins your accuracy. A high-capacity carbon fiber bottle holds that extreme pressure beautifully, ensuring your regulator has a massive volume of air to draw from even when the woods are covered in frost. Pulling the trigger feels exactly like snapping a thick rubber band. It builds a heavy tension before releasing with a clean, sharp break. When that massive chunk of lead leaves the unchoked barrel, the report sounds like a heavy sledgehammer striking a damp log. It produces a deep, resonant thud that drops game instantly without echoing across the entire valley. But here is the deal. This rig absolutely hates lightweight pellets. Because it features a specialized barrel with zero choke specifically tuned to stabilize heavy slugs, trying to run standard Diablo pellets will give you shotgun-sized groupings at 50 yards. You must feed it premium, heavy lead, or you are completely wasting the potential of this gun. The damage to your wallet is roughly $1,600. We have looked at rigs that offer raw, brutal power. You have seen guns that give you massive air volume to stay out all weekend. I have shown you platforms built to buck the wind and punch through thick feathers. But when you are hunting the most paranoid bird in the American woods, you need a weapon that does absolutely everything without compromise. The undeniable king of the 2026 spring woods is the FX Impact M4. This platform gives you the extreme precision of the Daystate Blackwolf, but with an unparalleled modularity and field toughness that puts the AGT Vulcan 3 High Power to shame. Spitting 30 cal or even 357 lead with devastating force, this extended platform generates up to 211 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. You get the perfect balance of pure strength and pinpoint accuracy out to 75 yards. The magic behind this massive output is the enormous power plenum feeding a hyper-efficient single regulator system. Here is why that matters for you. A massive power plenum holds a huge reserve of regulated air directly behind the firing valve. When you drop the hammer, that giant volume of air dumps instantaneously, launching heavy slugs at extreme velocities without forcing the regulator to work overtime trying to recover for a follow-up shot. Getting behind the AR-15 style grip feels incredibly natural and locked in. The match-grade trigger snaps exactly like a dry, brittle glass rod, breaking in half under pressure. Letting that shot fly, the report sounds like a heavy bass drum getting kicked underwater. Just a deep, muffled boom that drops your target and leaves the rest of the flock standing around confused. There is your complete lineup for the 2026 spring woods. It is time to retire the heavy 12 gauge and step into the modern era of high-pressure air. Stop settling for loud reports and ruined meat. Get yourself a precision rig that puts a heavy slug exactly where it needs to go when a massive tom hangs up at 75 yards. You now know what separates the serious shooters from the guys still reading marketing catalogs.